Hi, so today I'm going to talk to you about Github Copilot. This is one of my new favorite tools. I really like it for Drupal because applications like Drupal really can have some difficult syntax. It's hard to remember use statements and entity API and all sorts of things that require syntax that's really hard to remember. Maybe you find yourself on Stack Overflow or just Googling for syntax, copy and pasting from old projects. And so Github Copilot for me just saves a lot of time. That's why I like it. And I'm going to show you a little bit of it today, and you can let me know in the comments what you think. So certainly you don't have to pay for a service to try to use OpenAI to help you write code. And one of the free options is, as you might have guessed, using ChatGPT to write code for you. And so you just ask it questions, describe what you want it to do, and it'll spit out code that's, pretty usable. In this example, I'm asking it to list some article nodes from Drupal, and it does a pretty good job. It wraps it in a class for some reason, but you get the idea. Maybe it takes you a couple tries, but you'll probably come up with something useful. And you might find that this is better than what you usually find just searching around on Google. Another option is that you can actually use the API directly using the Playground application. I'll give you a link in the description so you know where to go. So this is another kind of cheap option. A lot of times ChatGPT is busy, and the Playground usually works when the chat client isn't working. And so this is a pretty simple, cheap way to get some coding help. And so that brings us to my favorite tool, which is Github Copilot. This is the homepage. You can check it out. Very reasonable pricing, something like $10 a month, $100 a year. And it's a really great tool, super easy to use. I have seen some articles that have some concerns about fair use and security and privacy and all that. So you'll want to do your own research on that and make your own decision. But I will give you a link to the Wikipedia page that has some good overview information on everything related to that. Once you've signed up for GitHub Copilot, again, you can sign up for the trial. There is a plugin that you can use. They support some different editors. I use VS Code. And so it's very easy to install. You'll just find the plugin, install it. There's some sort of authentication that you'll have to do, and then you're good to go. So now I'm going to show you what this looks like using just the demo Umami profile that ships with Drupal. So for our example, I created a test file that I'm just going to run with Drush, and we're going to try to get it to spit out some node titles. And so what I find that's really helpful is adding inline comments that kind of gives Copilot a hint of what you're trying to do. Here pretty quickly, it is able to construct a line of code that does this load by properties lookup, where it finds a bunch of nodes of type article, which is what I wanted. And then I know that I want to loop through them and do something with the titles. It thinks for a little bit, and then it just spits out a lot of different stuff because I don't think I really gave it enough of a clue in my inline comment. So that's something to think about. The more specific you are, probably the better code it's going to spit out. I ended up just deleting the lines that I didn't want, and then I'm going to print out the title in a new line. I've got the terminal already fired up, so I'll just use Drush to run my script, and then you can see that I've got all my node titles. So next I'm going to delete all that code. I want to start over and try to do something that's like an entity query. And so I'm going to write a very specific inline comment to hopefully help the API along. I'm also going to demonstrate how you can pull up a bunch of different options. If you use, I think it's Command Enter on Mac, it's going to pull up all your different suggestions and you can actually choose one. I actually don't use that often. I end up just kind of deleting and keep retrying until I get something I want. But sometimes it's helpful to pop open this little window and look through your options. Earlier when I was playing with this, it kept giving me like old syntax, like either Drupal 7 or early Drupal 8 syntax that had been deprecated. And so I ended up just trying to be super specific that I want like Drupal 9 syntax. And once I did that, it finally started spitting out some code that was more useful. So now I'm actually using a database query to select some of the field data that I want, just to try a different approach than I'd tried before. And so now that I'm done with my query, I'm going to iterate through the results, grab the title, and then just print it out to the console. And that's pretty much all I wanted to show you today. Just a pretty quick, simple example, some alternatives, and you can let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you next time.